our home and native land, Toronto's newest pulp culture podcast, covering your favorite comics, collectibles, media, nerderific origin stories, and more. Hosted by your northern neighbor, Joey Pangolinin. Here it is, nerdos and nerdettes, Comic Sync.
Joey from Comics Inc. with
Kenya
and our very special guest, Carlos from Gotham Central. How are you today?
Very good, very good.
Better than like 5 minutes ago, hopefully?
A lot better than 5 minutes ago.
That's awesome. So we wanted to come to Gotham Central as well because it's one of our home comic book stores. Kenya, this is where you're here.
Yeah, because I live like 5 minutes away.
Yeah.
She literally lives in the store. We built her a room in the back, and she's here. Yes.
I'm kind of jelly now. Just in the stock room over there. Just like room. Watching Jessica Jones and like bag and boarding.
Yes, it's our mystery employee there.
Very nice. So we wanted to ask you a few questions today because it's mysterious. We don't know anything about you, but we see you all the time.
Ooh,
so, yeah.
Okay.
But how did you get into this business?
You really want to know the truth?
Of course I want to know the truth. Well, I mean, we have viewers too, so if the's...
Are we on video here?
No, we're not on video.
Okay.
No.
So that's good. I've been in this business probably since 27 years. So had a comic shop back in the 90s, and then decided to open up another store in the 6 years ago, I guess. 6.5 years ago, 2012, yeah.
Were you a reader as a kid?
I was. Read DC, some of my first books were Lone Wolf and Cub, Mike Grell's Green Arrow, that was fantastic, The Nam art by Michael Golden, great art. Mm-hmm.
Are you more of a Marvel guy or DC guy at that point?
At that point, I was probably just a mix of everything, independent, a lot of independent books, Cerebus, TMT, I can't remember, Albedo, I don't know if you're familiar with those books, yeah.
We've seen them, but I don't think that I haven't read any of that stuff.
I haven't either,
no.
But I've seen them around.
Because I think I probably started reading comics like late 90s.
What was your first book?
Oh, Death of Superman.
And yours?
Mm-hmm.
My first book,
Did you buy it here?
I might have, actually.
Yeah.
No, I think my first book was Death in the Family.
Death in the Family.
Wow, that's a great read.
We're like, we started off really dark.
That's a lot better than Death of Superman.
No, every time I get that too. But, no, I know, and the thing about it too is that I wasn't expecting it to be like that. I mean, that's my first superhero book, but technically my first comic-y book was Archie Digest.
Archie.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Archie would have been my first.
Yeah.
Was it because it was easy accessible by buying it at the variety store, grocery store?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that was actually my, if you do well in Kumon, then you get an Archie book. I dropped out of Kumon. I'm a Kumon dropout to our listeners. I'm still not the kind of Asian that does math well, as you probably heard from the previous podcasts.
She's only an engineer.
Yeah. But, you know, it didn't work out. I'm just not... My mind just doesn't work that way, and I was trying to stick through for the Archie comics, but it just didn't happen. So my godmother, actually, she used to get the Reader's Digest, and so she used to get a subscription of that, but every single time that we would go, my brother would get a Kinder Surprise, and I would get Archie comic. That's how it was like to grow up in the 90s.
A nice story, yeah.
It's nice. I used to have a big collection of Kinder Surprise toys.
You still have it?
No, you know. Oh, European mother, garbage bag, toys.
That's it.
That's it.
So right now it's super busy. It kind of looks super busy in terms of like what's in the expansion side of the store because you guys are probably getting ready for Comic-Con?
No, we'll start next week. We're still trying to get the expansion phase cleaned up. We have a lot of overstock in our back room that we need to
in Kenya's
organize. In Kenya's room, yes. She hasn't done a good job for 6 years. But
I'm so
sorry. Surprise you with
But she's read a lot of books.
Yeah,
read
man.
a lot of books.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the history behind... I know you guys had a...
Gotham. Okay, back in the 90s,
you had another one. Yeah.
I opened up Risen from the Ashes, based on Phoenix.
That's deep,
right?
Yeah.
It was pretty cool, cool name. So we opened up in 91, 91. And before that, I was doing a lot of conventions, not comic conventions necessarily, but sports card conventions. So I started in the sports card business, and then hopped onto the comics, and Death of Superman came out and made a lot of money off that, and then continued on with opening a store in Scarborough at Finch and Pharmacy. And for any of my old customers, I know you're all around because you still come by. And,
Scarborough teens.
Scarborough, yeah.
Scarborough
Even though
teens.
I lived in Mississauga, so I used to travel back
That's
and
far.
forth.
Wow, that's
East to west traffic in Toronto is probably the worst traffic, I would say.
It was before 9 a.m. But when you
Before,
opened the
yeah,
store
that's
at
true.
11 a.m., it was no traffic.
That's right.
Coming home was in the mid-afternoon with the sun. That was dangerous.
Yeah, that's right.
Many times I would fall asleep at the wheel and swerve a little bit. But anyways, I'm still here.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, thank God.
So,
yeah, and then after that store, there was another Gotham Central in Mississauga, and then you moved here. This is your second location.
Yeah,
right?
we were across the street. So in 2010, I got the itch to open a comic store again, and then decided I was in a good place in life, and went ahead with renting a store across the street, Dixie and Eglinton, and that was, I think, 2,700 square feet. And after 3 years, we outgrew that space, and
You outgrew this space too.
yeah, so we got this new space, which is about 4,000 square feet.
Jeez.
And 3 years later after that, we expanded another 2,500 square feet. So, yeah, we're about 6,700 square feet now.
Wow.
And Kenya's room is about, what, 3 square?
3.5.
3.5. She sleeps, like, just standing
Standing
up.
up, like a
Vampire. So you went from naming a store after the Phoenix, and then now you've named it Gotham Central.
Yes.
Story behind that.
That was my eBay account handle back in 1999, 2000, before the DC came out with the book Gotham Central by Ed Brubaker, right?
So that was actually you first.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
these
guess,
guys, they didn't even ask for your permission,
No,
you know?
Brubaker got it from you.
they owe me some big money.
Yeah, seriously.
Anyways, so yeah, and then before I opened the store, I actually have friends at DC, and I asked my buddy Fletcher if everything would be cool with the name as a store. And
Hold
DC
on, Fletcher as in Black Canary 2015 run?
No, that's Brandon Fletcher. Is that what you think? No, this is Fletcher Chung or Chu.
Oh, okay.
He runs the shows. He runs DC at the shows. Right?
Oh, okay.
So, and he said, yeah, he talked and managed to Dan Didio and somebody else, and they said, yeah, it was all cool as long as I don't sell Gotham Central shirts on a mass scale.
Yeah.
They're cool with it. So, and here we are. Yeah.
Just a shirt within the family, I guess.
Yes.
Sure.
So you had DC's blessing for this store.
Yeah,
That's
they gave me
amazing.
the
I know.
blessing. But every comic shop has some kind of name that's
Some connection.
associated, you know. So
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of assuming that, Gotham Central, you're putting yourself out there as a pretty big Batman fan.
Yeah.
Is that true?
We're pretty big, yeah.
Yeah.
Got tattoos, yeah. Batman.
All of us, all
I'm
three
actually,
of us.
yeah. You guys have
I
tattoos.
don't have a Batman tattoo. I have a Wonder Woman
I have a
tattoo.
Superman
I'm
one.
a huge.
Oh my god, we're the Trinity right now!
Trinity,
Yeah.
yes. Activate
nice.
superpowers.
I know.
So we're not on video.
Wonder
All right.
Wonder Twins.
I'm a real big Wolverine fan, and then Batman. So.
Are you still reading anything right now?
No, I don't read. Sorry,
No
I haven't had
worries.
time to read any comics. I think the last comic I read was Lady of Wrath by our Austin,
Yeah.
our own Austin store, which was pretty good. Artwork was fabulous.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And like at this point, so you started the Gotham Central in Mississauga what year?
2012.
2012.
January 21st, 2012. We opened our doors.
How would you compare your old place, like the smaller place, to this place before the expansion? The one at Aimco as well.
It's a lot.
It's a
of
lot,
space.
yeah.
Yeah, I like this spot. The other place was cozy. I don't know if you remember it or if you've been in, but it was cozier. But now they were bigger, so it's a lot of floor space to display toys and handle. But it's great for our events, and customers
Yeah.
seem to like the space, even though we need to. Like our biggest downfall is we've always been a messy unorganized comic store. So hopefully
Isn't that all comic book stores?
Well, yeah, I guess.
Kind of, you know.
But you can't
like,
please everybody, so...
No, you can't.
But hopefully after 6 years, we'll be organized in another 6 years. So we're going to do this someday.
I've always been able to find everything that I needed here anyway, so...
So have I, so...
Yeah. No, I think it's as organized as it can be, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what about your staff? What's it like here? Do you guys have, you know, kind of... You have a Marvel go-to guy, a DC go-to guy, and how's that like? Tell us about the personalities of Gotham
Our
Central.
staff is fantastic. The guys here, they're great people, great wealth of knowledge. Austin, Matt, Nick, they're awesome. Olivia, yeah. So they're
I called her the manager of bag and boarding today because she taught us.
Now she's happy.
Yeah.
She is. Go right. But yeah, the guys are pretty knowledgeable about. They're up to date on all the books. You know,
Yeah.
I can't be. I try.
We try to,
Yeah,
and
it's
can't
very
do
hard,
it.
yeah.
There's like probably 9 or 10 of us in Comics Inc. now, and even
Wow,
with the
you grew so
yeah.
fast. Can I be number 11?
Of course, you were
Can I
you
be
were already
11?
there.
Oh, I was
Yes,
there.
and even just with the 10 of us, we can't catch up with everything.
Yes.
You know.
I look at the comics like I did in the 90s. What drew me into the comics were the art.
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
the art.
Yeah.
Image artwork in the 90s was fantastic. The colors were fantastic. DC and Marvel couldn't compete on that level with images.
McFarlane stuff.
The McFarlane, the Stephen
Liefeld
Platts, Dan Fraga, Liefeld. But
No, I was going to say that, so I was just like, Liefeld?
I do like some of his stuff. He
Yeah.
can't draw feet and he can't draw hands, but
He can draw a lot of pockets.
But I can't. I'm not. Yes, he can. And utility belts.
and
but-
utility belts.
But I put it this way: anybody that dislikes people's art shouldn't complain about it, because I can't complain about it if I don't like it. But it's still better than the artwork I'm going to produce.
Yeah.
anyways.
Oh, hands down,
So,
yeah.
But yeah, it was a great time. Now the artwork is fantastic, but sometimes overdone. You know.
Yeah.
You
It's
know,
like
some-
touching it, and it's
just
already
way
pretty
too much. Now
yeah.
I start to see the trends of the painters, Italian painters are getting these covers. They're fantastic.
Oh, I'm all about Alex Ross, and I probably
Alex
say that
Ross,
like
but
every
Gabriel
podcast.
Delato.
but- Yeah, yeah.
Lucio Perillo painted covers, or Francisco Mattina covers are fantastic.
Yeah.
So a lot of people know Gotham Central as the store, but you're
The
also
store?
Yeah,
The
the
store.
store.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you're also a big exhibitor in cons and expos, so we wanted to know what is the experience like with the customers that you have coming to the store versus the kind of people that you interact with at cons and expos.
They're the same, you know. Like I started in the cons and expos, so that's probably why a lot of people know who I am at the shows and stuff. So you know, for doing it for 25 years, you get to see a lot of you're there in that scene. Now, I've seen the ups and downs of the business and the different customers. Now, how you want to compare the con goers to store goers?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. They're the same to me. I treat everybody the same. So
Yeah. That's probably why so many people know you.
yeah.
Like you're.
like whatever I have in the store, and that's how I set up at the con. I don't change my prices. You know, that's how it is. Everybody has an overhead. And,
Yeah.
And then if the customer wants to ask for a deal, I give them. So you get a little bit of.
Yeah.
So
Well, I think like here in comic book stores, I don't really see people asking for deals unless it was maybe a key issue or something like that.
yeah,
you
but
know,
we have a discount program already. So if you're a customer of the store, you're able to get 10 and 15% off your issues or toys or your purchase, right?
Yeah.
I don't think any other store does that anymore.
No. I mean,
Yeah.
right now, actually, it's kind of opposite of that because, of course, like everything is in U.S. prices, and usually people tag about 20 to 30% of U.S. cover
Yeah.
price, right? So
Yeah, that's true.
You know.
We've done exchange rate at $1.25 for the last 2 years. Even when the exchange was $1.40, $1.42, we kept it at that, and
Yeah.
we kept
Oh,
a
okay.
discount, right? So I know there's stores in the GTA that still do U.S. cover price for new comics.
yeah,
You know, I can name names, which is stupid business model. You know, I really don't understand why, but
Yeah.
and-
and you lose out, of course.
yeah, but we can't. We got to make a living. That's what people got to understand. Is all these small stores are not getting rich you know, off comics. We can't get rich off comimics.
No.
Unless you have an Action Comics #1 or a Batman, Detective Comics 27. Now you're a millionaire, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of the store owners in the GTA, Ontario, all over North America do it for the love of the industry, right?
Yeah.
So,
And you know what? There's a truth to that, even to the clerks that work